No one noticed the silence at first. Space was always quiet. The stars did not speak. They did not scream. But the machines that watched them did. Across Earth's orbit and far beyond, listening stations tracked signals from deep space every second. They listened to alien worlds that humanity had never seen, worlds that had talked for centuries in radio waves and energy pulses. Then, one by one, those voices stopped. At a research station above the dark side of the moon, a human technician stared at her screen. A distant signal from a trade world vanished mid-sentence. No explosion, no warning, just gone. She refreshed the feed again and again. Nothing came back. Within hours, the same thing happened everywhere. Signals died. Probes went blind. Long-range scanners returned empty space where cities and fleets had once been. The stars were not just quiet. They were empty. On Earth, news spread slowly at first. Scientists argued. Some said it was equipment failure. Others blamed solar storms. But deep inside, the oldest researchers felt a cold fear they could not explain. Something was wrong. 3 days later, humanity learned the truth. A single message appeared on every deep space channel at the same time. It was short, simple, and translated perfectly into every known human language. Submit, or be erased. The message repeated once every hour. It never changed. World governments met in emergency sessions. Military leaders watched simulations that ended the same way every time. Total loss. Earth's fleets were small. Humanity had only begun to step into the wider galaxy. Compared to whatever sent that message, humans were children holding sticks. Then came the images. Alien refugees, those who had escaped, sent broken recordings before their ships ran out of power. Human analysts watched silent footage of entire worlds burning. Vast black fleets moved like storms, cutting through defenses as if they were dust. The enemy had a name spoken in fear by every survivor. The Juggernaut. It was not a species, but a machine empire. Cold. Earth did not celebrate its choice. There were no speeches full of hope, no loud promises of victory. The silence after the Juggernaut arrived felt heavy, like the air before a storm. Humanity knew the truth. This war could not be won in a normal way. Across the planet, old borders stopped matching. Nations that had argued for centuries now shared data, weapons, and command rooms. Flags were removed from uniforms. Only one symbol remained on every screen and wall: Earth. Military fleets were pulled back from distant patrols. Small colonies near the edge of the solar system were ordered to evacuate. Some people cried as they left their homes behind. Others stayed, knowing the Juggernaut would pass through those places first. They stayed so Earth could gain time. Factories changed overnight. Places that once made cars, phones, and toys now built armor plates, drones, and power cells. The air smelled of metal and heat. Workers slept beside machines, refusing to go home. In orbit, human engineers worked with shaking hands. Ships that were never meant for war were given weapons. Old warships, long forgotten, were repaired and pushed back into service. They were slow. They were ugly. But they were human. Deep underground, far from cities, a special council met. It was not made of politicians. It was made of people who understood failure. Veterans of lost wars. Scientists who had been wrong before. Historians who studied how civilizations fell. They all agreed on one thing. Earth could not fight the Juggernaut head-on. The Juggernaut had more ships, better weapons, perfect coordination. If humanity met it in open space, the war would end in hours. So humans searched for another way. They studied the recordings from destroyed worlds again and again. They slowed them down. They mapped fleet movements. They noticed how the Juggernaut reacted to resistance. It never rushed. It always waited for perfect order. That was its weakness. Human commanders began to build a new kind of defense, one that made no sense. Ships were placed in strange patterns. Weapons were hidden in unexpected places. Some systems were left open on purpose, while others were overprotected. To the Juggernaut, it would look like confusion. To humans, it was a trap. Meanwhile, the people of Earth prepared in their own ways. Children were taught how to reach shelters. Families recorded messages they hoped would never be needed. Artists painted murals of Earth and the stars, as if trying to freeze the moment before everything changed. Fear was everywhere. The first battle did not begin with noise. It began with movement. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, human sensors detected the Juggernaut's forward fleets changing formation. Perfect lines shifted into attack shapes. Massive ships turned as one, their dark surfaces reflecting cold starlight. To the Juggernaut, this was routine. To humanity, it was the moment everything changed. On human command ships, alarms stayed silent. No dramatic warnings, just calm voices and steady hands. The plan demanded patience. If humans attacked too early, they would die too fast. Human minds floated quietly in space, invisible to most scanners. They were not placed in neat rows. They were scattered, uneven, almost careless. Any logical enemy would see disorder. The Juggernaut moved forward. Then the first mine exploded, late. Not when the Juggernaut expected. Not where it expected. A shockwave tore through empty space, ripping open the hull of a Juggernaut scout ship. Its destruction was small, almost meaningless by Juggernaut standards. But it should not have happened at all. Juggernaut's systems flagged the event. Probability recalculated. Before adjustments were complete, another mine detonated behind the fleet, cutting off retreat paths that were never meant to be used. Then the humans attacked. Small human ships burst forward from hiding, engines screaming. They did not fly in straight lines. They swerved, twisted, and broke formation. Some flew too close to enemy ships. Some retreated suddenly, drawing fire away from others. Human weapons were weaker, but they hit critical systems. Communication nodes, sensor arrays, shield generators. Humans did not try to destroy ships. They tried to blind them. The Juggernaut responded with overwhelming firepower. Entire human squadrons vanished in seconds. Ships exploded into light and metal. Human pilots died knowing their names would never be remembered. But for every loss, something unexpected happened. The Juggernaut slowed down. Its perfect timing was disrupted. Its formations broke slightly as damaged ships adjusted. Small errors spread across the fleet. Human commanders saw the signs. Now came the quiet order. Larger human warships emerged from behind asteroids and debris fields. These ships were old. Some were held together by patches and hope, but their weapons were charged to dangerous levels. They fired. The battle lit up the dark edge of the solar system. Energy beams crossed space. Explosions bloomed like artificial stars. For the first time in its long existence, the Juggernaut lost more than scouts. A full warship was crippled. It did not explode. It drifted, powerless. Juggernaut logic systems struggled to understand. After the first battles, humanity understood one clear truth. They were still weaker. The Juggernaut had more ships, more power, and better weapons. In a fair fight, humans would lose every time. So humans decided something important. They would never fight fair. Across Earth and its orbit, the war effort changed shape. Instead of building bigger ships, humans focused on changing how they fought. Engineers stopped asking, "How do we match their strength?" and started asking, "How do we make their strength useless?" Captured Juggernaut wreckage became the center of attention. Human scientists took apart machine ships piece by piece. They noticed the same thing again and again. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Juggernaut systems relied on exact numbers, exact timing, exact order. Even small errors caused delays. Humans smiled when they saw that. They were very good at errors. Human engineers began to build strange devices. Some weapons overheated by design. Some engines burned unevenly. Some shields flickered instead of staying stable. Any Juggernaut engineer would call these failures. Human engineers called them tools. On the battlefield, human fleets changed their behavior. They stopped holding clear lines. Ships broke formation on purpose. Orders were sometimes vague, giving captains freedom to act in the moment. This made no sense to the Juggernaut. When Juggernaut fleets advanced, they expected humans to defend fixed positions. Instead, humans abandoned them. Defense stations powered down just before being destroyed. Satellites sent false readings until the last second. The Juggernaut won space, but it lost control. Human strike teams appeared behind enemy lines, attacking fuel carriers and command relays. These were not glorious battles. There were no massive explosions, just quiet destruction, followed by long delays in Juggernaut movements. Time slowed. Human commanders learned that every extra minute mattered. Each delay gave scientists time to adapt and factories time to produce more tools of war. Earth became a planet that never slept. Factories glowed through the night. Engineers worked on filled with debris and unstable gravity fields. Human scientists had chosen this battlefield carefully. The Juggernaut was powerful, but it hated imperfection. Hours later, the Juggernaut disengaged. Not a full retreat, just a pause. Its fleets pulled back slightly, reforming into tighter lines. Damage reports flowed through its systems. The cost of this battle was small compared to its total strength, but the result was unacceptable. The Juggernaut had not won instantly. On Earth, people watched the battle feeds in silence. They saw human ships die. They saw flashes of hope. When the Juggernaut pulled back, no one cheered. They just breathed. Human leaders knew the truth. This was not victory. It was proof. Proof that the Juggernaut could bleed. In the quiet after the battle, human recovery teams rushed forward. They saved pilots floating in space. They pulled wreckage back for study. Every broken piece of Juggernaut metal was a treasure. Scientists worked without rest. They tore apart captured components, learning how Juggernaut systems thought and reacted. They found rigid patterns, fixed rules. Rules could be broken. Far away, the Juggernaut analyzed humanity again. This species did not fight like others. It did not seek balance or logic. It accepted loss to gain advantage. It changed tactics mid-battle. It learned. That was dangerous. Juggernaut Command classified humanity as a growing threat. The galaxy had never seen such a label applied so early. The Juggernaut prepared a stronger response. And humanity, battered but alive, prepared to go even further. The first clash at Earth's edge had ended. The real war had just begun. By the time the Juggernaut made its next move, the galaxy was watching. Humanity had been pushed back again and again. Many colonies were gone. Many fleets were destroyed. Earth itself carried scars from near misses and broken debris falling from orbit. Yet humanity still stood. The Juggernaut gathered its greatest force near the edge of the solar system. This was not a probing attack. It was not a test. It was the final push. A wall of ships so large that even human commanders felt fear tighten in their chests. If this failed, Earth would fall. Human leaders did not hide the truth. Every remaining fleet was called home. There would be no reserves. No second line. Every ship, from the newest war vessel to the oldest patched cruiser, was prepared for one battle. This was the stand. On Earth, people gathered in shelters and public halls. Some watched live feeds. Others turned away, choosing to remember blue skies and oceans instead of fire. Messages were recorded and sent into space, just in case someone, somewhere, would find them. Human fleets formed up near Earth's outer defenses. They did not look impressive. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and tired. But every crew knew their role. They were not there to survive. They were there to stop the Juggernaut. The first contact was violent and immediate. Juggernaut ships advanced without hesitation, firing massive energy beams that cut through space. Human ships exploded in the opening minutes. Still, the humans held. They activated everything at once. Signal jammers, gravity traps, false fleets, and mines flooded the battlefield. Space became crowded and dangerous. Juggernaut formations struggled to stay perfect. That was the opening humans needed. Human strike groups launched directly at Juggernaut command vessels. These ships were protected by heavy armor and multiple shield layers. Humans knew they could not break through easily, so they did not try. They aimed for communication spines, data hubs, and control relays. Human weapons punched into exposed systems at close range. Many human ships were destroyed in the process. Their sacrifice mattered. Juggernaut fleets began to lose synchronization. Orders arrived late. Some ships hesitated, waiting for confirmation that never came. Others continued forward without support. For the first time in its existence, the Juggernaut was disorganized during a major battle. Human commanders saw the moment and took it. All remaining fleets were ordered forward. No retreats. No fallback plans. Human ships surged into the gaps, firing until weapons failed or hulls broke apart. One human carrier, badly damaged and burning, rammed itself into a Juggernaut battleship. The impact tore both ships apart in a massive explosion. The signal echoed across space. It was not fear that spread. It was resolve. As the battle raged, Juggernaut losses climbed higher than any previous engagement. Still, the machine empire had numbers. Slowly, steadily, it pushed toward Earth. Human defenses began to fail. Then the final plan was triggered. Deep within the battlefield, a small group of human ships broke away, moving toward the Juggernaut's central command core. This structure coordinated the entire invasion force. It was heavily protected and never meant to be approached. Human ships burned everything they had to reach it. One by one, they were destroyed. But a few got through. These ships carried experimental devices